I'm Truman, the Grey Merchant. This is a compilation of all 55 D entries in my series looking at every MTG legend. Like before, I've scored each entry on how much of a character they are and included additional opinions and fun facts plus statistics at the end. If you enjoy this series, please consider subscribing. Doodle is a robot from the Universe who appeared in the 2022 set Infinity. He serves as the park's caricaturist. He also has the gift of prophecy, with his art often having dark portents of things to come. He was Pietra's first robot creation. He's the only robot in the Astrotorium with full awareness. While intended to be something like a bellhop, he chose his own role after considering taking over the park. All subsequent robots were made simpler to ensure they did what they were supposed to. Dak Faden was a human planeswalker from Fiora. He first appeared in the 2012 Magic the Gathering comic before receiving a card in Conspiracy. In his youth, he was an arrogant student of magic. He sparked when his best friend was killed. He became an interplanar thief, eventually having his hand branded red as punishment. When he returned home, he found his town massacred by the planeswalker Sifa Grint. Years later, his thieving put him on the path to finally defeat her, saving Ravnica in the process. Afterwards, he had misadventures on Theros, even crossing paths with Ashiok. He was killed while defending Ravnica once again during the War of Spark. Daghatar was a human warrior from Tarkir who appeared in the 2015 set Fate Reforged. In the past, he was Khan of the Abzan houses. When Sarkhan's meddling strengthened the dragons, Daghatar led his people against Dramoka's brood. Feeling it was the only way to save his people, he eventually surrendered. He destroyed the kin trees and ended ancestor worship at the dragon's behest. He was challenged by Rayhan, who led the Abzan forces devoted to tradition. After the dragons killed her, Daghatar lived on, though he was no longer allowed to go by Khan. Dakon Blackblade was a human warrior planeswalker from Dominaria. He first received a card in the 1994 set Legends, then another in Modern Horizons 2. Gaadrone Dehada hired him to craft the Blackblade, a powerful life-stealing sword. He killed many to complete this task. In return, she made him a planeswalker, but she also stole his soul and shadow with Blackblade. When Karth summoned him to get his own revenge on Dehada, the two became friends. Their attack failed, and Dakon regained his shadow, but became bound to Dehada. He and Karth went on to Terracier, Dehada's hold over him ambiguous. He lived on, ageless. Dalakos is a Morfolk artificer from Theros who appeared in the 2020 set Theros Beyond Death. D&D Mythic Odysseys of Theros says he was curious, quick-minded, but he was unfocused. It wasn't until a Kraken began a rampage that threatened his community that he was forced to focus. As the beast drew closer, Dalakos sought ways to turn the monstrosity from its path, but ultimately his plans failed. All that Dalakos knew was destroyed, yet the Kraken carried on, moving toward a coastal human settlement. Working desperately, he crafted a miraculous device, and ultimately laid low the Kraken. Today, he resides inside the Kraken's shell, his heart broken, but his mind forever focused on bringing his gifts to life. Damia is a Gorgon wizard from an unknown plane who appeared in the Commander 2011 Devour for Power deck. The article says, thanks to their petrifying gaze, Gorgons make few allies, but many seek out the Gorgon sage Damia, whose breadth of magical knowledge rivals that of any archmage, and whose prices cut deep. Many have thought of forcing secrets out of her. Her statuary is littered with the stone forms of those who tried. Dane, or Half-Dane, was a shapeshifter from Dominaria. He first appeared in the 1994 set Legends, then again as a Dominaria United box topper. He hailed from Talaria, but eventually came under the service of Ramses Overdark in Madeira. The murderous Dane killed many, including Barktooth, Ragnar, Kay, and possibly Ramirez, often emulating them for infiltration afterwards. Tor and Aisha ultimately killed him, avenging Kay. Danitha Capuchin is a human knight from Dominaria. She first appeared in the 2018 set Dominaria, then again in Dominaria United and March of the Machine The Aftermath. She is a high-ranking member of Benalia's clan Capuchin. Jorah offered her a spot on the rebuilt Weatherlight, but she declined, choosing to stay and fight the Cabal. During the prelude to the invasion of Dominaria, her father Aaron was completed and she was forced to kill him. She then took command of his troops, leading them against the Phyrexians. Duretti is a goblin artificer and former planeswalker from Fiora. He first appeared in the story of the 2014 set Conspiracy, then received cards in Commander 2014, Conspiracy Take the Crown, and Aetherdrift. He rose to a high position in Paliano's academy, but faced discrimination, backstabbing, and plagiarism. An accident severely injured him and ignited his spark. The article says, after some time away, Duretti returned to Fiora to reshape the power structure of Paliano that denied him his aspirations. His schemings were responsible for the disbanding of the Academy and were instrumental in instigating the Goblin Riots. He defended his home plane from the Phyrexian invasion, losing his spark afterwards. He was then stranded on Avishkar, joining the Grand Prix Goblin Rocketeers to find a way home. He didn't win, but he survived the race and temporary starred capture. Dargo is a giant pirate from an unknown plane who appeared in the 2020 set Commander Legends. A little article says, when Dargo requested to join a notorious pirate crew, the captain immediately declined. "You're too big," he was told. "The ship can't hold you." Dargo had a dream, however, and would not be discouraged. The captain, who didn't feel like getting crushed by a giant on that day, welcomed Dargo aboard. The voyage went as poorly as the captain predicted. Dargo waded over to a nearby island to wait for the other survivors, but none ever came. He's still waiting for rescue to this day, even though several passing ships have already attempted to save him and sank in the process. King Darien the Great was a human soldier from Dominaria. He first appeared in the 1995 comic Ice Age on the World of Magic the Gathering before receiving a card in Cold Snap. He was king of Keldor during the Ice Age. He protected both his kingdom and surrounding peoples from Limdor's army, caring not where innocents hailed from. He also defeated the rogue General Varchild. After the thaw, he oversaw the peaceful unification of Keldor and Balduvia into New Argive, defending against Stromgald's forces in the process. Partially in honor of his noble efforts, the name Darien echoed through New Argivian history. Darien the 48th is a human soldier from Dominaria who appeared in the 2022 set Dominaria United. He is likely a descendant of the legendary Darien the Great. A law article says he is the conflicted lord of New Argive. With the emergence of Phyrexian sleeper agents, Darien wanted to withdraw from the world and put up walls until the invasion ran its course. His loyal advisor Baird convinced him otherwise, and now he steels himself to face the threat head-on. Daragaz is a dragon from Dominaria. He first appeared in the 1989 novel Time Streams before receiving cards in Invasion, Dominaria, and Alchemy Dominaria. A law article says, facing Phyrexia, Daragaz and Tevesh Zat awakened 4 of the legendary draconic primevals. Daragaz then learned that he was the 5th primeval. All 5 of the dragon's power was unleashed against the Phyrexians, but a mad rage also gripped each godlike dragon's mind. Daragaz laid waste to both friend and foe. In a moment of clarity, he realized the indiscriminate ruin he had caused. He cast himself down into a volcanic caldera, shattering the power of the draconic primevals. He was eventually reincarnated and is now trying to make up for his past failures. Darvel is a spider-human hero from an unknown plane. They are the 2025 set Through the Omen Path's one's equivalent of Spider-Man Webslinger. They have the upper half of a human and the lower half of a giant spider. They are known for their protective webs, and birds, rabbits, and squirrels appear quite comfortable in Darvel's presence. Daughter of Autumn was an avatar from Orgratha who appeared in the 1995 set Homelands. The article says numerous tales surround the living legend of Autumn Willow and the creatures with whom she interacts. Tales about one of her creations, the Daughter of Autumn, are common throughout the Homelands. Stories of a beautiful woman appearing out of the misty air, leading children from danger, or a ghostly apparition freeing an injured woodsman from his own trap. The card's flavor text suggests there are multiple Daughters of Autumn. Davriel Kane is a planeswalker from an unknown plane. He first appeared in the 2018 novel Children of the Nameless, before receiving cards in War of the Spark and Jumpstart Historic Horizons. Davriel has the power to steal spells from others, and is an expert in demon contracts. In his past, he stole the Entity, a dark ward soul that now inhabits his mind. It possibly gave him his spark. When he tapped into its power, great death followed. Since then, he has tried to lie low. He took up residence in a manor on Innistrad. There, he encountered a local named Tassinda, who pressured him into defeating another entity. Later, he was drawn into the War of the Spark, reluctantly participating until he was able to leave. Daxos is a human soldier turned zombie turned demigod from Theros. He first appeared in the 2013 set of the same name, then Commander 2015, and Theros Beyond Death. He was an oracle to Heliod. He and Elspeth accomplished great feats together and eventually fell in love. Tragically, Xenagos instilled madness in her, and she accidentally killed Daxos. He spent some time as a returned, endlessly searching for his lost love. Eventually, Heliod revived him to serve as his champion in the war between the gods. After Heliod's defeat, Daxos and Elspeth were briefly reunited, but Daxos is still trapped by his god. Despite this, he and Heliod were on opposite sides of the Phyrexian invasion. DK is a zombie employee from the Universe who appeared in the 2022 set Infinity. She works at the Astrotorium's Lost and Found, handling a wide variety of items, including clothes, weapons, vehicles, toys, and even a League of Dastardly Doom skull saucer. The Astrotorium waiver says she can reclaim fingers lost to a Beeble, but not wallets and keys. Dika is a human wizard from Arcavios who appeared in the Commander 2021 Quantum Chondrix deck. A law article says she sees the world as an endless sequence of interconnected equations, which to her is the most beautiful thing imaginable. She explores new theorems by giving them physical form. and her exquisite geometric creations are always an exciting sight on campus. Doni is a human scout from Ravnica who appeared in the 2024 set Murders at Karlov Manor. A little article says, at a glance, Doni seems like just another street urchin, but in reality, they're the head of a ragtag gang of fellow urchins who know everything that goes on in the streets of the 10th District. Streetwise and canny, Doni is happy to lend their eyes and ears to whomever needs them, for a price. Their undeniable skills at information gathering and espionage have earned them a lot of attention from the Demir, but Doni has turned down all offers of recruitment, preferring a life on the streets over abandoning those whom they see as family. They are likely inspired by the trope made famous by Sherlock Holmes' Baker Street irregulars. Demira is a human performer speculated to be from Innistrad. They are the 2025 set Through the Omen Path 1's equivalent of Mary Jane Watson. Many fans believe them to be a member of the Dawnheart Coven. This would make sense given their green-tinted magic. They are known as Soul of a Spider, and incorporate these creatures into their puppetry performances. Din is an elf ally from Zendikar who appeared in the 2016 set Oath of the Gatewatch. Following the rise of the Eldrazi, he and his twin sister Mina were left as the last of the Mordiah elves. They sought out the Tajuru tribe and proved themselves by defeating some Eldrazi. They are accepted as members of the Tajuru, while still promising to preserve their Mordiah heritage. Dinnik Betzold is a human-turned-spirit soldier from Innistrad who appeared in the 2021 set Innistrad Midnight Hunt. A little article says, the Betzold household was once one of the most influential families in Gavany. The most recent patriarch, Warren Betzold, had a secret, an illegitimate son named Dinnik. While Dinnik grew up sequestered from his family, he was able to have a relationship with his father. From a young age, Dinnik was obsessed with becoming a Cathar that protects the people. Listening, Warren presented him with an elaborate shield on his birthday. The next day, the travails began, and every trace of the Betzold name was wiped out. Dinnik's desire to protect lingered even in death, and he remains in this world as a spirit. Dinri Klin is a cat advisor from New Capenna who appeared in the 2022 New Capenna Commander Bedecked Broker's deck. A article says, what matters to the newsman is that the news, warts and all, gets to the eyes of the people, and that his paper gets the news to them first. The broadsheets of New Capenna are as much at war over readership as the five families are over Halo. This is a war that Dinri Klin, the editor-in-chief of the Capenna Herald, is determined to win. Born into the Grey Guild of Reporters, Dinri Klin knows the news. His ascension to the role of editor-in-chief of the Capenna Herald was no less brutal for its bloodless achievement. Dipala is a dwarf pilot from Avishkar/Kaladesh who appeared in the 2016 set of the same name. El article says, a young dwarf renowned for her talent at the controls, Dipala is a pilot with a reputation for pushing the limits. She belongs to the Derby Crow's Aeronaut Society with its inventors to continually upgrade her ships, always vying to stay ahead of the competition. She's also a renegade who used her skills and daring against the oppressive consulate. Derevi is a bird wizard from Bant Alara who appeared in the Commander 2013 Evasive Maneuvers deck. Iloroko says she uses cunning strategies to outsmart her enemies. She orchestrates the movements of her great army as they fight invaders who would lay waste to her peaceful lands. Among her devoted followers, Derevi is called the greatest commander the Shards have ever seen. Her brilliant strategy routed the Grixis hordes at the Battle of Split Peak. Her clever diplomacy diverted the Espel Council in their plot against her. Derevi is disciplined but fair, and she evokes loyalty in her soldiers. Always the eye in the sky, this commander outmaneuvers her enemies time and time again. Dissacrix is a symbiote villain from an unknown plane. They are the 2025 set Through the Omen Path's one's equivalent of Carnage, Crimson Chaos. The symbiotes are a dangerous species that apparently use the Omen Paths to find different people on different planes to merge with them. Dissacrix goes even further, using their abilities to puppet fresh corpses. Devil Danger Neville is a devil performer from the Universe who appeared in the 2022 set Infinity. The K in Danger is silent. He's a daredevil who enthusiastically rides his rocket motorcycle in frequent dangerous stunts. He's broken every bone in his body more than once and caught fire 87 times. He takes his name from the daredevil Evil Knievel. Dew, or Cloudhoof Kirin, is a Kirin spirit from Kamigawa who appeared in the 2005 set Sabers of Kamigawa. He belongs to a group of 5 Kirin Kami who meet every 1,000 years. In their latest meeting that we saw, he waxed poetic about Kami and mortals. He's a philosophical, dreamy individual who can appear in both equine and human forms. Diren Baral is a human wizard from Kaladesh/Avishkar. He first appeared in the 2015 Magic Origin story before receiving cards in Aether Revolt and March of the Machine. A low article says, the consulate considers mages to be dangerous and unstable, so Baral keeps his powers secret even as he hunts and arrests other mages. Over a decade ago, he called for the execution of the pyromancer Chandra Nalar. In his position, he killed Kira Nalar, destroyed a village, tortured Pia Nalar, and killed or captured many more. He was eventually arrested for his crimes. He escaped during the Phyrexian invasion, but was forced to fight alongside the pirate Kari Zeb for survival. It is unclear what happened to him after the Indigo Revolution. Dina is a dryad druid from Arcavios. She first appeared in the 2021 set Strixhaven School of Mages, then in March of the Machine. A law article says she is a weird, darkly humorous, and tea-obsessed mage student of Witherbloom. She always wanted to cure diseases, and is learning how to concoct all manner of herbal brews from bizarre swamp creatures. Her goal is to revive her diseased home. During the Phyrexian invasion, she and her classmates cast the Invocation of the Founders in defense of Strixhaven. Dionys is an elf druid from Dominaria. They first appeared in flavor text of the 2009 set Magic 2010, before receiving a card in Foundation's Jumpstart. They're an arch-druid among their people, often making observations on nature. They also speak of the elves' resilience and power. Despite mentioning Dominarian events in their flavor text, they are also seen commenting on the wilderness of Chandalar. Disa was a human scout from Dominaria. First appeared in the flavor text and story material of the 1995 set Ice Age before receiving a card in the Modern Horizons 3 Commander Graveyard Overdrive deck. Her insert says she was a Kodoran explorer during the Ice Age on Dominaria. Most of the writings about Terracier during the Ice Age were written by her. She and her travel companions were ambushed by a Lurgoyf. But instead of running, Disa faced it head-on, and after a grueling fight, managed to defeat and subdue it. For the rest of her travels throughout Fiendhorn, whenever she encountered a new Lurgoyf, she was able to tame it in a similar manner to help guide and protect her troop. Tajiru is a human warrior from Amonkhet. He first appeared in story material and flavor text of the 2017 set of the same name, then received cards in Hour of Devastation and March of the Machine. He was a religious devotee and a former friend of Samut. She saved his life during the trials, and he eventually came around to her perspective. Soon after, he defended his home during the Hour of Devastation. He and Samut went on to rebuild. Later, he worked with Hazaret and, surprisingly, the Scarab and Locust gods to battle against the Phyrexian invasion. Doc Arlok is a bear druid from an unknown plane who appeared in the 2024 set Outlaws of Thunder Junction. They are known as a genius, and say that learning stops only when you close your mind off to wonder. They appear to have an academic interest in animals. They are associated with the Outcasters, folks who are ill at ease in civilization. Dokai was a human monk from Kamigawa who appeared in the 2004 set Champions of Kamigawa. El article says his connection to the land is so strong that he can bring it to life. He started out as a gardener and maintained his appreciation for nature as he grew in status. Domri Raid was a human planeswalker from Ravnica. He first appeared in the 2013 set Gatecrash, then twice in Ravnica Allegiance and in War of the Spark. He was an orphan who proved himself to the Gruul by controlling wild animals with magic. During the guild's rite of passage, his spark ignited. With Bolus's assistance and his newfound power, he defeated Borborygmos and became leader of the clans. He rioted throughout Ravnica and eventually supported Bolus during his invasion. Bolus returned the favor by harvesting his spark, killing him. Donal is a human wizard from Innistrad. He appeared in the 2021 Crimson Vow Commander Spirit Squadron deck. A law article says, a devout worshipper of Avacyn, her betrayal and subsequent unmaking left Donal feeling lost. He set off on a pilgrimage in search of deeper meaning. Several months later, after a night's sleep in a forest clearing, Donal was awakened by a symphony of birdsong. Opening his eyes, he found himself surrounded by both mortal and spirit birds. For the first time since Avacyn's unmaking, he felt at peace. He has since decided to live among the birds, their melodious calls providing all the spiritual substance he sorely missed. Duran is a treefolk shaman from Lauren Shadowmoor who appeared in the 2007 set Lauren. A law article says, one of the most famous black poplar treefolk is the Wanderer Doran. A hawk of a tree, renowned for his unusual fighting skill, Doran uses obscure shamanic magic to turn the natural durability of treefolk into their greatest advantage. Doran seems to feel at home in many different settings. It's thought that his wayfaring ways have led to the collection of diverse magics that he has combined into his own unique magical style. Dorothea is a spirit of a human from Innistrad who appeared in the 2021 set Innistrad Crimson Vow. The article says she is among the countless humans mercilessly slaughtered by Olivia Voldaren over the years, and is now one of the numerous souls trapped in Olivia's wedding train. A skilled sorcerer in life, Dorothea specialized in bloodline magic. If she were freed from Olivia's accoutrement, she could lend considerable strength to a blood relative in battle. Coincidentally, her great-grandson is among the Cathars rallied to attack Olivia's wedding. Dosan was a human monk from Kamigawa who appeared in the 2004 set Champions of Kamigawa. A law article calls him the oldest living Kannushi on Kamigawa, perhaps the most revered monk. He had many students. He was deeply in tune with nature, content to meditate for long stretches at a time. He preached peace and restraint and had great respect for the kami. Dovin Baan was a Veldican planeswalker from Kaladesh/Avishkar. He first appeared in the 2016 set Kaladesh, then twice in Ravnica Allegiance and in War of the Spark. He was an artificer and had the power to detect and exploit weaknesses. He was a consulate minister, putting him at odds with the Nalars and other renegades. He fell in line with Tezzeret, though he bristled at his extremism. Afterwards, he fled to Ravnica, where he pledged loyalty to Bolas, who assisted him in becoming Guildmaster of the Azoria Senate. During the War of the Spark, he was in charge of the Immortal Sun. There, he was blinded by Lazav. Later, he was killed by a Dimir assassin. Drafna was a human artificer advisor from Dominaria. He first appeared in flavor text and story material of the 1994 set Antiquities before receiving a card in the Brothers' War. He and his wife, Hercule, founded the Magical College of Latnam. Wishing to stay neutral during the Brothers' War, they also joined the Union of the Third Path. For the neutrality, both organizations were destroyed, with Hercule dying in the process. Drafna went on to found a new magical school, the City of Shadows, and his wife's legacy endured for millennia. Dragonhawk is a birdified dragon, probably from Tarkir, who appeared in the 2024 set Bloomborough. Based on its wings, it probably spawned from Kolaghan's brood as Dragonstorm spread across the multiverse. With its great storm powers, it accosted the valley. The combined abilities of the set's heroes were only able to temporarily ward it off. Later it returned, but was defeated by the Calamity Beast Maha. Drakuseth is a dragon, probably from Dominaria, who appeared in the 2019 set Core Set 2020. They have visual similarities to Shivan dragons. Using their mastery over fire, the giant dragon once killed Marsden's party. Draunu was a zombie wizard from Dominaria. He first appeared as a non-legendary card in the 2001 set Planeshift, then as a legend in Time Spiral. An article says the Necromancer Lich from Urberg joined the coalition against the Phyrexians during the invasion. His main contact in the coalition was the Metathran commander Agnate. Though they were allies, Draunu infected Agnate with a plague that would enable the Lich to slowly turn the Metathran commander into one of his own undead minions. Agnate caught on to Draunu's plan, however, and had the Minotaur Grizzlegom take his life to spare him from undeath. Drana is a vampire shaman/cleric ally from Zendikar. She first appeared in the 2010 set Rise of the Eldrazi, then Battle for Zendikar, Zendikar Rising, and March of the Machine. The article says she is a vampire blood chief of House Calistria. When the other vampires were subjugated by Eldrazi, Drana led the vampiric resistance against them. Nearing defeat, she combined forces with Gideon and Tazri, ultimately leading to the Eldrazi's defeat. As the only survivor of the first generation of vampires, Drana holds unquestioned leadership over vampire society as it rebuilds from the devastation of the war. In a desperate attempt to repopulate vampire society, Drana is trying to discover the means to create new blood chiefs. During the Phyrexian invasion, she joined forces with Linvala. Dreadfang is a human warrior villain from Kylum. They are the 2025 set Through the Omen Path 1's equivalent of Craven Proud Predator. In Valor's Reach, they fill the heel position and are loathed by the public in turn. Luckily for these fans, they got to see Ruzek soundly defeat them. Dreadfang associates with a bizarre antlered creature and what might be an imp. Drivenod is a Phyrexian horror from New Phyrexia, who appeared in the 2023 set Phyrexia All We One. The article says, when Phyrexia reshaped the surface of Mirrodin, parts of the very land took on a mind of its own. Drivenod grew out of the skeletal, necrogen-drenched architecture of the Dross Pits. He is a grinning, spiked titan who takes pleasure in torturing lesser life forms. He impales his victims on his staff and conducts them like an orchestra in a symphony of agonized screams. Dromar was a dragon from Dominaria who appeared in the 2000 set Invasion. He was one of the 5 primeval dragons, who ruled as gods until the Numina avatars trapped them for thousands of years. Dromar and 3 others eventually escaped and sacrificed themselves to free Croesus, who then revived them. They sowed death until the primeval Derigaz saw the error of his ways and sacrificed himself to weaken the others. Dromoka was an elder dragon from Tarkir. She first appeared in the 2015 set Fate Reforged, then in Dragons of Tarkir. In the original timeline, she was killed. After Sarkhan's meddling, she battled and eventually conquered the Abzan, outlawing their spirit worship. A lore article says, in battle, she does not hesitate to unleash her breath weapon, a beam of scouring light. She believes that the other lesser clans will wither and fall eventually, and that only those under her protection will be strong enough to endure. She and the other dragon lords were eventually defeated by rebels and the spirit dragons. Druneth is a human scientist villain from an unknown plane. They are the 2025 set Through the Omen Path 1's equivalent of Jackal Genius Geneticist. The research focus is the revival of the Sliver Hive, accomplished in an advanced laboratory with mysterious capsules. They wear technology and are possibly cybernetic. Descana is a bear from Manica who appeared in the 2024 Murders at Karlov Manor Commander Deadly Disguise deck. Ilarico says, first spotted roaming the rubber belt after a failed summoning rite by Yargis, Descana is clearly not a normal bear. Rumors abound of her ability to appear out of seemingly nowhere, and those who see her often find themselves filled with a bestial rage that prompts them to go on destructive rampages. Some have speculated that she might be the pale bear of Gruul prophecy that will herald the rise of old gods. She is invariably seen with her 3 cubs, whom she guards fiercely. Jornan is an elf warrior from Lauren Shadowmoor who appeared in the 2015 set Origins. She was a Dane, or commander, of the Gilt Leaf tribe. She fully believed in the traditional Lauren elf beauty supremacy. Nissa encountered her when she was leading a genocidal boggart hunt. Nissa tried to stop them, but was disrupted by the Great Aurora. Diadrine is a construct from the Edge who appeared in the 2025 set Edge of Eternity. The article says, abandoned on an uncharted moon with limited mineral deposits, Diadrine discovered that their nanotech self-repair protocols quickly ran out of applicable materials. The Meccan determined that local flora contained sufficient structural integrity from which to graft repairs onto themselves. Over time, the synthesis of plant and machine progressed to the point where the two became indistinguishable. Recently, Diadrine has had the urge to consume nutrients at an accelerated rate. Self-diagnostics did not report any malfunctions, but their symptoms match the local flora's propagation cycles. As always, onto the stats. Species-wise, the D-Legends are a bit less diverse. Dragons take second place. Looking at every letter so far, we have quite the list. For a place of origin, Innistrad takes the coveted third place. Looking at everything, Kamigawa retakes that position. D-Legends did quite well at being defined characters, scoring 2.55. Disa was both the character with the longest gap between their origin and card, and the most watched video. Perhaps those facts are related. My favorite major character was Davriel Kane. He has a very fun personality. Dak was also in consideration, as the only character I've done an hour-long video on. Doodle was my favorite minor character, probably helped by the interview I did with his biggest fan. I'd like to do more of those. The overall character score has decreased, mostly due to the influx of loreless Through the Omen Path characters. Bernard remains the most viewed video. Arna and Disa tie for longest gap, as both originated in Ice Age flavortext and received cards 29 years later in Modern Horizons 3 products. Thank you for watching, and to my patrons for supporting this channel. Consider joining them for fun perks. Bye.